Cloud. Okay. Very nice to have everybody today. And someone's making a fair amount of noise. Chuck, I'm going to mute you now. Bob, I'm going to mute you. Robert, and any of you that have any interjections at any point, just unmute yourself and interject. Recall that I do not have access to the chat screen as we're in at least the mode I'm looking at right now. So please don't rely on chat to ask your questions. Hi, Susan. How are you? Good. Susan had a little concussion a week or so ago, so she can't look at the screen very much. Anyway, here's what we're talking about today for our fan club. And I'm really thrilled to have a panel of burgeoning experts. Is burgeoning the word?
That's the right word.
Jennifer challenged me to use the word burgeoning this week in a sentence. And so there I've done it, and I don't know what I get as a prize. Maybe she'll be nice to me. At any rate, what we want to do is just talk to some of the newer agents and maybe hear from their OMs, Margaret and Dacia, I see you there, and Elizabeth. Hear from some of their MDs if you have anything to say about what you've seen that has helped make these newer agents on our panel successful out of the gate. We all know real estate is not an easy sport. You can be at it for 15 or 20 years and still have a dry year. Why is that? But what we're talking about right now is how did these new agents, and not just new to Coldwell Banker, but new to the industry, how did these new agents have some successes in their first year? And it doesn't mean everybody's, got $500,000 in GCI or anything. It just means that from what I've seen in my transaction reports and from what I've heard and learned from OMs and MDs is that these agents came in, they used tools, they got after it, and they've had some sales. And by my estimation, having a few sales in your first year or two of real estate is really impressive. Hi, Lisa. Nice to have you.
Hey, Eric. Thanks.
And Ashley and Dacia, that's fantastic. I think we have all of our OMs. I'm so thrilled about that. Hi, Shawnee. Are you there? Excellent. Great. Glad to not hear you. So, okay. So I've given some of these agents a few questions, and we're going to sort of script along, but we'll do whatever we can to just follow conversations and just try to learn some of the tricks and tools. And here's what I really think is important is if you're an experienced agent, Marion, you've joined us, you've been at it for 20 years. I see Pam is on the call. You've got lots of experience. Robert, you've got some experience. But maybe this will remind you of some of those things that you used to do when you were fresh and when you were just like trying to get it done. Maybe this will take you back. I think of a scene in LA Confidential, one of the greatest movies ever, I think, when Kevin Spacey, who's a jaded cop, doesn't even care about anything, Guy Pearce asks him, why did you become a cop? And he sits there and he goes, I don't remember. And it's a really sad scene because he's lost his thread. He's lost his why. He's lost his why. And so for an experienced agent who maybe is just doing real estate because that's what you do, hopefully this, if you watch it, if you're watching it now as a recording, will help you remember your why and help you get remotivated and start using some of these things that our newer agents have brought to the table. So there's my preamble. Questions, I sent about 10 questions. We'll get through a few of them, but I just want to start, Brandon, you're my top left right now, and your first name starts with B, so except for Adam, you're at the top of my list. Why'd you even get into real estate? What made you go, oh, that sounds like a good use of my money?
I got into real estate because having a corporate background, every time I had a success or I made a lot of money, it was for the company. So getting into real estate and working for myself, any of the work that I do, innovations that I do, benefits me. So, and it's all about relationships.
Excellent. So obviously all of you know a lot of what's going to be said today, but the fact that you get to kind of be your own boss and put your own strengths to the fore, even though you're under our banner, but I think that's got to be a very big draw. Don, I'm going to ask you because you're fairly new, a year and a couple months into the business, but you had a career before that, I think. So Don, I'm going to unmute you and tell us why you jumped into this business maybe a little bit as a second career.
Risk and reward. Where I was at before, I absolutely had no risk involved. I could have stayed there and I could have done the same thing year after year, brought home the same paycheck month after month. And there was no risk, but there's also no reward. Here, there's potential for huge risk but the potential for reward is off the charts too. And if it's to be, it's up to me. And I just wanted to go somewhere where I could do something for me, building on what Brandon said.
Yeah, that's great. And so speaking of risk and reward, Don and Irene, who I think is now part of the referral brokerage, but you were a partnership for a good chunk of the year. By my count, they had the best sort of beginning year that I've seen in the last year. Don and Irene had 11 closings, could be off, but this is according to IQO, for $2.2 million in volume, which is fantastic. So congratulations, Don and Irene. Congratulations to everybody, but Don and Irene, that's fantastic stuff. Just putting the time in. We'll talk more about how you got to those closings in a little bit. Jamie, let's ask someone in Montana. Again, you had a career. You were involved in supermarkets and grocery stores in California, I think. Moved to Montana, real estate. What is that? How come? Jamie, we can't hear you, which is weird. So rather than, let's see if you can figure that out. But let me ask one other person here, and then we'll move on to the next ones. Adam, will stay in Montana. Unmute yourself and stay upright. Why'd you jump into this real estate thing? You've got a lot of talents. You're a drummer. You do a lot of things in the community. Why real estate?
For me, the short version is my wife had a health issue come up and kind of had a serious change of lifestyle, so I needed to be able to bump my income up.
Okay.
And I actually thought about getting into real estate years ago before the market crashed. But
Adam, we can't hear you.
Yeah. So you wanted to direction over your own lifestyle, but maybe talk a little louder, move the phone a little closer to you. We have trouble hearing that.
can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
Is that any better?
Yeah. There we go.
Awesome.
So just to reiterate real quick, nutshell of why you joined real estate.
Oh, sorry. So my wife had a health scare, and basically I needed a serious pay increase in order to facilitate the type of rehab she needs and just health costs that we're going to incur over our time. So that's why I got into real estate.
Okay. Risk and reward, kind of the same thing that Don was talking about. And Adam, I pointed out Don's volume is 2.2. Adam, by my calculations, did 2.4 in volume in the last 13 months. So 2.4 million in volume. Very nice work, Adam. All that driving around apparently has paid off. Jumping ahead a little bit, Kelly with an E. You ready?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Why do you spell your name with it? No, that's not the question.
Ask my mother. I don't know.
No, I'm not going to do that. Go back to your first transaction. Okay, you're new in real estate. You're new to Coldwell Banker. Walk us through how you got that first transaction. How did that buyer seller come to you? What work did you do to get to that first transaction?
So those people were actually coworkers of mine. I worked in restaurants for a really long time, waiting tables and managing. And it was my co-manager at my old restaurant. He and his wife wanted to sell their current house and purchase a new one, a bigger one, because they had a growing family, 3 little boys. So that one I will just be forever grateful for, because they not only let me sell their first house, which we got under contract in 25 hours, I think, we purchased their next one as well. So I basically had, I had 2 in, like right off the bat. So that was them. They said, we were just waiting for you to get your license.
Okay. So, but that's the mechanism I want to ask you about, is how did they know that? How did they know you got your license? You were serving them a drink and said, oh, by the way, here's my card, or what?
No, I spent a lot of time with Michael, who's my co-manager, and they knew I was studying to take my real estate test, and it had been just a long process. Like every time that I wasn't at the restaurant, I was either in the break room studying or at home studying. And once I passed my test, they just were like, yeah, we want to sell our house and we want to use you.
And there's fears that any client is going to have with a new agent. Well, we like you a lot. We want to use you, but So how did you work through that? How did you convince them that you were the person that was going to be able to sell their house in 25 freaking hours, you showboat?
Well, that I definitely didn't expect, but I definitely leveraged my guru. I leveraged the company, the fact that I'd only been at the office probably a whole month, and everybody was so helpful right away. So I just knew that if I didn't know the answer to something or how to do something, someone would help me. So there was always someone behind the curtain there for me, and I think that I told them that, they know I'm new, but I think that it helped a lot having Steve, and somebody was always there to just make sure it was okay with them. So
right. And so some of you are, like she said, guru. What is she from India? Well, no. What we're going to be implementing in our offices the next few months, Grand Junction has already done this. Hi, Jamie. Is having someone in each office, an agent that is able to be that go-to person for not the DB, but someone more in tune with newer agents. So you can take their paperwork and say, is this right? Did I spell my name with an E? That sort of thing. So that'll be coming into play in all of our offices by June, we hope. I know we've got things in the works here in Sun Valley. Jeremy, I can't remember if you were in another Jersey before you came here, or did TV your first real estate stop and last?
Yeah, right. No, I was at Keller Williams before.
Keller who?
Yeah, exactly, right.
Okay. All right. And so you came over here, so you've had some success. Jeremy had a very good, since August, he's had 4 sales for $1.06 million in volume. That's $250,000 average sale price. Great stuff. So whether it was with the red jersey or this jersey, what was your first transaction? How did that matriculate?
Yeah, okay. My first transaction, it came to me just through when I was in college. I was a HVAC technician, and I just kind of talked to her. She was moving and mentioned that I was going to become a real estate agent and that I'd be able to help her out.
Okay, so what we've got here is a pattern of you've got to let people know, right? And the best people to let know that you're a real estate agent are those people, in Keith and Grand Junction, we'll talk about this all day, are those people in your close circle. Think of the people you know as in 3 or 4 circles. The tight circle that you know that they're going to talk about you as an agent. Make sure they know what the heck you're doing and why you're doing it. And you've got a bigger circle of acquaintances, friends, but maybe they don't even know, but you got to stay in touch. Then people you just know haphazardly. But make sure that inner circle is tight, and make sure that inner circle will talk about you. They are your raving fans. And Jeremy and Kelly both brought their first sales because of that, which is fantastic. Jamie, I'm hoping is your audio working for us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, that's probably not going to work though. So try it again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, excellent. You have a really cool voice effect when you do that. Next question. I'm not going to ask. Oh, no, I wanted to ask you. You were a supermarket owner in Northern California. You moved to Montana. Why'd you get into real estate?
I got into real estate because. Do you hear an echo?
Yep. Okay, try it again. Now, I don't know. We got something's going on here.
Do you hear an echo now?
Yeah. So I'm gonna mute you. We'll get back to you when we're clear. Let's see, Bob. I didn't put you on this panel, but I should have, because you're fairly new. 4 sales, almost $1 million last year. Nice work, Bob McHugh, getting the job done. Tell us how you structure your day as a new agent. One of the reasons people get into real estate is like, oh yeah, I can go skiing if I want. I'm gonna go play golf. I'm gonna have a martini at breakfast and then a Bloody Mary at lunch. But you got to put the time in. It's clear to everybody. So Bob, unmute yourself and tell us what a typical work day for Bob McHugh in Montrose looks like. How do you structure your day as a new agent?
Okay, I begin the day by just reviewing the multi-list and looking for new listings and so forth, and keeping on top of that. And then I think I move on to any contacts I need to make by telephone. And I try to do that like around 9 o'clock, because 8 o'clock for some people it's too soon. Then I do follow-ups around 11:30 and at the end of the day. But I utilize the remainder of the time. If I have a transaction to deal with, that comes first. And if there's somebody that wants to have a showing or any kind of a possibility for a transaction, that comes first. But otherwise, I get involved in marketing, preparing up stuff. I think another thing that I have been doing is open houses for other agents, and my theory behind that is you have to get your name out there, and you also have to meet people, and that's one great way to meet people hand to hand, shaking hands with them, and you get to know them more so than an image out there or a photo somewhere in an ad.
Yeah.
So I usually, I've been doing those almost once a week, so it takes about maybe 6 hours to prep up stuff for that.
Good. And for a lot of you, you're one of the reasons you're in real estate is you're personable and everything. This is the reason I'm not an agent, because that personal stuff would not go well for me. But Bob's got a fairly good structure. Like if you can make it routine, even though you're in a job that doesn't by law have any routine, if you have a routine that you follow 3 or 4 or 5 days a week, you're going to be more successful. It's just the way things work. Schedules work. So hopefully you're time blocking and that sort of thing. Jason in Montrose, I've not ignored you on purpose. I'm still mad at you for being twice as good of a mountain biker as I am. So you get last in this question series. But Jason, are you there? Yes. Okay. I'm going to jump ahead then to you've been at it for about a year in Montrose. What activity have you spent the most money on? This is a huge issue for newer agents. Is where do I don't have much money. I need to sell things in order to make money. So I have to be really thoughtful and judicious about my resources. Where have you invested the most money in your real estate business besides your AVPs and your desk fees or whatever? And your bike. Obviously not in an audio system for your computer. Didn't put any money into that, which makes sense to me. Don, I'll ask you. You came into this and need to be risk. So what did you risk? Where did you put your money to help your real estate business grow?
I would say the most money I've spent in this is putting fuel in a vehicle and going where you need to go, taking clients to homes, going up into the mountains, looking at properties there. And that'd be my biggest expense right there.
Excellent. Shawnee and Alexi will have to figure out a way to get gas involved in the CB package of some sort so that we could say, plus there's a CB gas package that we offer as another value. Jason, looks like you're on. Can we hear you? Nope, not hearing you for some reason. Jamie, now that you've moved into Ashley's office, can you tell us what you've spent the bulk of your money on? If you had to say, it's probably been here in terms of how you're promoting your business and your real estate.
I would say clubs and organizations that I belong to, as well as time and giving back to the community, which time is money. But however, it has been very beneficial my business coming to me through that. Another couple of things would be equipment for my new career, as well as marketing. I think those are my main expenses.
Okay. And do you feel like you've had a good return on investment in the marketing? This is the first that's come up, and I want to talk about our marketing programs here because I think they're awesome. But do you feel like you're getting a good ROI as a new agent on what you're spending for your marketing?
Yes, and I am starting from scratch. As you can tell, I'm an amateur. But anyway, it's the presence that I want to be able to give in my business, and with that requires some equipment and also the marketing that I want to launch 2018 with.
Okay. All right. So everybody knows you have to spend some money to make some money. Hopefully, though, the programs we have in place, from the CB marketing packages to Business Ignite and other things are helping newer agents do that more cost effectively. Brandon, you're in the commercial division here, so it's a little bit different than the bulk of our other agents on the panel here. But as a commercial agent, are you spending your money differently than residential agents, or is it all pretty much the same? Because it's all real estate, dude, and that's a dumb question.
Our signs are 4 foot by 4 foot, so they cost about $500 a piece. So for every listing, you're almost putting about $500 just into a sign. The marketing packages are fantastic, though. For commercial, we don't need so much of the inside, and we're able to incorporate drone photos in a marketing package that costs $35. So it really makes us look professional. That's my favorite thing that the marketing department offers. But I agree. Most of my money is spent on taking people to coffee and interacting, getting the one-on-ones and trying to build those relationships.
Okay, so both Don and Brandon have spoken, and another one spoke to the fact that you have to be investing in gas and just coffee and meals and what have you, because those relationships are so important. If you're trying to do it all through email and MLS blasts, it's only going to go so far, is what this is sounding like. Jason, I don't want to leave you in a lurch here. Can we hear you yet? Nope. This is awesome. Talk louder. No, I'm kidding. That wouldn't help. That wouldn't help at all. Adam, you're an outside the box kind of guy, which is one of the reasons that I tolerate you. This isn't about money as much as it is about activities. What in your first year or so have you done as far as real estate activities that have juiced your business the most? Open houses, door knocking, driving around and seeing things, MLS investigations, whatever. What are your go-to moves, let's say, as an agent to help your business?
I'm always networking and talking to people. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm always talking to people as much as possible whenever I'm out in public, which is quite a bit. I also have a budgeted Facebook ad campaigns that I do every month. I've really been focusing on the web or the internet side of things for advertising, and I've gotten a great return of investment. I think every city or any area you're in, you have to kind of find out what that sweet spot is for your budget that makes sense and works. But I've been lucky enough where a lot of people in my sphere of influence are in a position and ready to make transactions. So it's a little bit of everything.
Let me go back to the first thing you said, because I've always hated this word, and I think a lot of agents, new or experienced, really struggle with this, the networking thing. Okay, networking. No, yeah, I can't stand it. But when you're talking to people, you said I'm talking to a lot of people. What does that mean? Is everything you're talking about real estate? Do you preface every comment like, my name's Adam Greenberg and I'm a real, what does that look like for you? Because that's a tough thing for agents.
No, I'm just being a normal human being and asking them about their day or what's going on. Invariably, you'll get around to, so what are you doing? So I do just a brief, hey, I'm selling real estate now. And then like, oh yeah. And then of course you go off and how's the market and all that stuff. And, but I never push it first unless they come right up to me and ask me about it.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. I mean, and I figured you were going to say that. It's a tough piece. I've been role playing with an agent here about how to run into someone in a grocery store and move it to real estate. Don't start it there, but move it there, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they care about you enough, they're going to ask you what you're doing in your life. So that's how you can just you'll know right away when you mention it if they're interested or not. And then if not, that's fine. But maybe they will be 3 months from now. So yeah. I just, networking seems to be a scary word, but it's not. It's just another term for communicating with people. So,
right.
Just talk to people.
Yeah, thank you for that. Jeremy, you've recently switched jerseys, so that question might be better for you than for others. You've come into a company that we think has a lot of great tools. What tools have you used, Coldwell Banker tools, that have been most successful for you?
Yeah, there really are a lot of tools that Distinctive Properties gives us, So all the CB1, 2, 3s, those are all very helpful. And then the transaction coordination, that's really been helpful for me. It eases up a lot of my time, so that way I can do a little bit more marketing, or just like we talked about, maybe going to get coffee, dinner, lunch, whatever, with some future clients, and just focusing on my referral network. So definitely the transaction coordination has been the game changer for me.
And that's the transaction coordination we launched like in the summer, where you can pay a little bit of money and have all the stuff taken care of. So you can go to real estate agent. Okay, great. That's awesome to hear, because we think it's a great service and it's underutilized so far. So to hear a new agent who's got a few deals under his belt say, I'm using it and it's helping me spend more time doing what I'm good at, playing basketball, whatever, that's good. You're a basketball player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
Not anymore, no.
Yeah.
I'm just tall.
Don, I'll ask you too, because again, you had the most sales out of anyone on the call, on the panel, and your first answer was you spent a lot of money on gas, but what in-house did you and Irene use and exploit more than others that you thought was an effective use of your time?
Oh, it's just the marketing plans. Every listing we've had, we've gone with a CB2 package, and those are just things that I'm not good at, that it's best to transfer that over to somebody else that does know what they're doing.
Yeah. So you use the CB2 for all of your things, which, gives you a bunch more collateral in the big picture. That's impressive. Most people stick with the CB1 unless it's some higher end listing. So was that a conscious decision? Why'd you choose a CB2 and say, this is what we're doing?
Yeah, we just looked at all the things that each one offered and felt like the CB2 gave us the best bang for our buck. If we get a listing that's one of these high dollar listings, then we'll probably go up to the CB3 because it offers more listings or more power to get your listing out in front of the people that need to see it.
Yeah, excellent. Well, it's great to hear that you're using those. Jason, I'll continue to. Nope, I don't see Jason, so we won't ask him. Jamie, any tools that you've been particularly fond of that you've put to use more than others?
I do like the packages that CB1, 2, and 3 have to offer, definitely, because I'm not an expert at that. So it's a great tool to have for us. I am going to take your advice that you gave me last year and launch into video. So that is a little bit going to Gen Blue last year. It was just really huge, and they were saying have the vision of 2020, which is your vision, and where the marketing was going. And I can definitely see that, and I want to be a part of that, but I want to be in front of the curve rather than learning it and implementing it into my business in 2020. So thank you for that, Derek.
Yeah, that's great. And I see Jamie's taking notes. She hasn't thought about that before. Oh, video. I'll tell Kelly we should do video. Right, Jamie? Hey, Kelly, speaking of the Kelly Maves team, Kelly, you've had a good first year. As a solo agent, 5 sales for $900,000 or so in volume, which is fantastic. But it's not always easy. So when it wasn't easy, when it wasn't going well, when it's like, what am I doing? What'd you do to get through that?
Gosh.
Don't do that with your hands, please. It's distracting. I'm just kidding. Kelly's like, what do I do with my hands the whole time? So I have to.
I think, I don't know, it's kind of hard to get into your own head and like get discouraged if you're not, I mean, the best thing I did was just keep showing up at the office every day. I'm not a person that can work from home. There's too many like dogs and distractions, and I just need to be in the environment. So when everything was, I think September and October, I was just like really discouraged and felt like, well, what am I going to do now? I just, one of the first things I did was sign up for more open houses, the Parade of Homes, that we have in Grand Junction. It's like a whole, basically just a giant open house tour of houses. So I volunteered for that. Just kept talking to people. I picked up shifts at my old restaurant, so I would run into old regulars and just kept trying to stay positive and talk to people and remind people that yes, I am still doing real estate and I intend to keep doing real estate for as long as absolutely possible.
That's great. And here's what I see, and again, I'm not an agent, but what I see is a really difficult thing for agents is you probably only feel as good as your last sale. Like you had a sale, it was awesome, but then if 2 weeks go by and you don't have any activity, it's like, what am I doing wrong? Even though if you look in the rearview mirror 2 weeks ago, you had this great closing. But because you're commission driven, it's always what's next, what's next. So it's easy to get in those little ruts. But what I love hearing from Kelly is that she came into the office and she was in the office because that's where the energy is. That's where people are going to see you. You're going to get ideas. You're going to be more inclined to say, hey, can I go sit in an open house for you and that sort of thing, and just keep your energy going that way. So I appreciate hearing that. Jason, it looks like you've moved around a little bit. What does that mean? That we just get to see you in a different light, or we actually get to hear you?
Can you hear me?
Oh, this is fantastic. Okay, that's all we want from you. Nice job. You can, no, I'm just kidding. Let's see, we've asked about 7 questions, Jason, that you've missed out on. Let me go back to this. You were in investments before, so a little bit of a related field, but you decided to come into real estate. Okay, so how do you're in Montrose, what drives you to do real estate? And I would imagine investments could have been very successful, but what drove you to decide this was the path you wanted to take?
Yeah, so sorry about that. I started restarting my computer and now it's going through updates and it's still updating. So I'm assuming that's the reason I didn't have audio, but I'm on my phone now. Yeah, so the investment aspect definitely brought me into real estate. And, I was doing the investment side for a while before I got my license. But I just wanted to immerse myself, completely into real estate. And that was kind of one of the reasons for the license side of it, and also help other people, buy and sell properties.
So it's a little bit of a personality thing. You want to help other people. And as I try to tell my agents a lot, like it's all about service, right? If you're in this for the bottom line, you'll probably make money, but it's not going to be as rewarding. Jamie says, wear your name tag everywhere. Thank you for that, Jamie. That's from an experienced agent, that's a good tip. But so Jason's talking about being of service. I think everybody in our company probably identifies with that a little bit, because that's kind of in the mission of the company. So that's good to hear. All of you are leaning on experienced agents. Brandon and Kelly in particular, let me change this to you two a little bit, because you've both recently joined teams. Brandon in the commercial division and Kelly with the Maves group, along with Jamie Moats, who's on our call today too. So that's definitely leaning on people, no doubt about it. Brandon, can you just walk us through your decision as a newer agent to say, hey, I want to align with someone and be part of the team? Because that's great, but you also maybe reduce commission. There's some downsides to that. So why did you decide to join a team?
I think working with Dale's been in this industry for 35 or 40 years. He grew up here in the Valley, so he knows everybody knows him. So it brings a little bit of recognition for people when I tell them that I work at Coldwell Banker and I work with Dale Beatty. On top of that, working with Dale Beatty, I get one-on-one mentorship, and I get access to all the transactions that he's doing, where I would have been doing 1 or 2 throughout last year. I got to work on a lot of deals with him. So I feel like the exposure to the process, the transaction, seeing it firsthand, being involved in it is really, really beneficial.
So even though all of you can lean on people in your offices, joining a team, as Brandon is talking about, gives you extra special access to knowledge. It's an apprenticeship almost. It's a way to learn the stuff from the ground up, as opposed to you're already flying and now you need to do this or that. So that sounds pretty good. By the way, Brandon, it's Dale's brother's birthday today. Ross, would you please, if you see him, and if you're not averse to this, would you spank him for me and tell him it's for me?
I don't know about spanking him. I'll tell him you said hi.
Who else is in the Grand Junction office that I can ask to do that? Don, you give us.
Maybe Kelly could help you out.
Yeah.
Closer to him. Her desk is real close.
All right. I don't know Dale well enough to ask him to spank his brother. That'd be weird. Kelly, can you talk to us? And Jamie, did you just Jamie Motes? Did you just leave? Oh, I offended her. Dang it. But can you tell us, Kelly, why you've decided to join a team after just a few months in the business? What made you say, oh, I think I'd be better off with a group of people?
Yeah, I mean, I was comfortable being by myself, but at the same time, being on a team, I think there's a lot more, there's just more potential for leads, quality leads. Doing open houses is great, but I'll go off of Brandon for sure. I mean, piggyback off of what he said about having exposure and learning more and having that support system around you. Like I like to be around people that are of like mindset like me and who just want to help people and be the best that you can be. So Kelly's team just can provide a lot more than I was able to do on my own. When they sat me down and talked to me about it, I just saw no real risk in it. A lot of people think, oh, well, you should know your worth and make sure that your commission split and all this stuff. And for me, I'm like, I don't care about any of that. I know that Kelly's doing great business. I know as a person, she's great. All of her, her whole team is just able to do good things and help people. And Kelly also being a builder's wife, gets me into the new construction field, which I knew nothing about. So I'm learning a ton about building, sitting at a model home for multiple days out of the week is just a major lead generation tool. And I know I can call Kelly anytime if I'm writing an offer. I send it to her and she'll look over it, and she's not going to let me fail at all. So
excellent. And this is about compatibility. You can't just join another agent and say we're a team. Like it's got to be personality fits, emotional fits, the same goals. You have to be doing it for the same reason. So if any of you, whether you're experienced or a newer agent, are thinking about teams, like you really got to vet this stuff. And you got to know who you're jumping into the pond with. But then once you do it, I think, like when I look at our production by office and by company, the top producers are teams for the most part, right? Like teams just do more business, and there's a lot of reasons for that. So you have to be prepared to work more, to take, especially as a newer agent, to take some orders and to be scratching your head about things that maybe you wouldn't do it this way. But if you're joining a team as the younger person, whoa, take it easy there, Mark.
But at the same time, I think one of the things I was afraid of is that I'd have to be answering to someone or, not really still be independent. But I totally am. I mean, I don't need to like report to anybody still. Yeah, of course I want to make sure I'm carrying my weight in the team. But
I just texted Kelly. She thinks she doesn't have to answer to anyone. And Kelly.
Oh my God, don't. No, I mean, but it's still like you're still responsible for your own success, but you can leverage your team and how well known Kelly is and her husband and her teammates are, all the other teammates are doing great things too. So
yeah,
I had put a buyer under contract right before I went hunting last winter, and I just left it in the hands of Jamie and Kelly, and I came back and everything was fine. Like that alone is worth it to me.
And did you get anything?
No.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
But,
well, when you partner up too, you're leveraging your strengths and your weaknesses. So where I'm weak, my partner might be really strong and I can learn from that. Or vice versa, he may be weak and I may be strong. It makes us stronger as a group.
Yeah. And, there's the idea of compatibility and complement my weaknesses with your strengths. I will share something that from the Gen Blue when I went to the Tom Perry thing and he was talking about teams. He said, Mark, can someone go take the Red Bull out of Mark's hands? God dang, what is he on number 3 today? Tom said, only align with people that are a lot like you. Don't align with someone who's totally different because you think you're going to complement each other, because next thing you know, you're driven, they're mellow, you're at odds. And so if you're thinking about teaming up, talk with people who have done it. In Grand Junction, there's a lot of teams, but just don't do it haphazardly. I don't need to beat that horse anymore. I'm sure everybody can understand that. And being on a team is not for everybody. Don, let's get back to you. What do you need to get better at after a year?
What do I need to get better at? I think everybody probably has the same answer, but going out and meeting people and creating new contacts, new leads, new business.
Yeah, and that's actually the question I wanted to ask, and I missed it. Lead generation. It's the bugaboo for every agent, whether they're brand new or whether they've been around for 30 years. How do you get new leads? How do you create new business? Because your business plan says you're supposed to do, let's say, 5 calls to your SOI a day and 5 calls to new business. Jeremy, you have any magic lead generation things that have worked for you that you don't mind sharing?
I guess it's not really magic, I guess, but just creating that personal touch, you know. After all my closings, I guess one thing that I do is I just do like a IOU dinner. I take them out to dinner, just kind of become friends, all that kind of stuff, and just I'm trying to create a good referral network, you know. So I just ask if they know of anybody that's looking to buy or sell, and that type of stuff. And then whenever I see a good deal that comes on the market, I'm just on my phone. I'm trying to text, trying to call up people. Who do you know that's looking to buy in this $200,000 price range? Because this deal, you're going to walk into 20,000 equity or just whatever. You know, I don't really sit down and make cold calls, which is something I'm trying to implement. But I just try to help people out. You know, I mean, if there's a good deal, I let them know, and I just like to treat people after closings and stuff like that too, just for those referrals.
Yeah. And that's awesome because not only has Jeremy done probably a good job with the transaction, so they're already happy with them, then he takes them to dinner and through the course of the evening asks for that referral. And a lot of you in your email signatures have the tag that there's no higher compliment than referring me to someone, but you got to ask for those referrals. It's really important stuff. So I'm glad to hear that you do that. You spend a little bit of money there, and hopefully it'll come back to you in spades or clubs or whatever the phrase is. Jamie in Bozeman, do you have any lead generation
I am going to be trying
tricks that have really created new contact?
So I'm going to be trying a new thing to see what works. What I do is try things that are not happening in the community currently. I want to be an agent. I don't like doing what everyone else is doing. I like to just try different things. Last year I had tried doing a bridal fair, and we had a tour where you would visit event venues and all of the vendors. And I decided I was going to be a tour guide on that bridal tour. And so I just like to see what's going on in the community and how can I insert myself into that. And it's about exposure. And so this year I am doing a new event, and I am inviting clients and a lot of people that have referred and people that I am on committees with. And being in Montana, a lot of them do not know what Chinese New Year's is. And Chinese New Year's is a celebration, the largest Asian celebration. And I'm doing an event for about 200 people during the Chinese New Year's.
Which is right around the corner, right?
Is right around the corner, so I am preparing for that. And just doing different things for my clients and people that I work with within the community, as well as in the industry.
So within the industry exposure, but maybe more important is just being out and finding things that you can do that are, Jamie's got a great point. What markets, what niches are not being tapped, let's say? And you don't want to, you need to be authentic. You need to be doing stuff that's important to you. But if you can find places that aren't full of realtors, and in small places like Steamboat and Vail and Sun Valley, good luck with that. But insert yourself into places where there aren't a lot of you going on. So that's a great point, Jamie/Ashley. Jason, what have been some of your lead generation tricks?
Oh man, I don't know if I have any tricks. Last year I was mostly because I moved to Montrose not knowing anybody, So I didn't have a circle of influence or anything like that in this area. So I've mostly been sending out like mailings, like letters, postcards, stuff like that by mail.
To people you don't know, like to farming areas, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to people I don't know. And I don't know, it's hard to track it. I did get a deal from one last year, but you know, I'm trying to track it more and see, you know, versus how many letters, you know, gets you a deal. I mean, it was definitely a lot. I just don't know how much.
Yeah. Well, that, you know, the farming is a start, and I hope you all do farming. We've got, you can do it when you order the CB packages. There's just sold and just listed postcards that go out, and you can choose your market for that. Jason, what Todd would tell you, or what Tom Ferry or Coach would tell you, is that's one piece of farming. If you're not out there, though, knocking on doors to those very places that you're farming, you're probably just another postcard in the trash. But when you do the one and then follow it up with another and then find another way to hit that same demographic 2 and 3 times a year, that's when you start to see the returns. That's what a lot of people tell you. I will say, though, however, that getting a sale out of your farming is pretty good. I mean, we've had people here who farm for years, and only after 3 or 4 years does it turn into something. But our most successful team here in our office, they've been farming in a neighborhood for about 3 or 4 years. I mentioned this before in Fan Club, but they made little pecan holiday gift baggies, and they went to all of those homes. I think it was 150 homes before Christmas, and these are $38 million in volume last year. This team did, and they went and knocked on doors, and it was effective. You got 2 buyers out of it, but almost all of them said, "Oh, I know you. You send me the postcards." But it's like a math equation. 1 is not a math equation. It's just a number. But 1 plus 1, that's an equation where you then get to 2. So if you do the farming, what's the other thing you can do? Get in those faces. Do open houses in that area, right? So make sure that you're connecting your desk work with field work, even though it's out of your comfort zone, I think, for most of us. Thanks for that, Jason. That was good.
Yep.
Kelly, do you have any things that have been remarkably successful for you for lead generation besides working at the restaurant?
I don't know. I think just getting in front of people. Like I hate being on the phone.
On the road?
What?
Get in front of a car.
Yeah. Why not? No, open houses really helped. Like I'm so much better actually just like being with someone one-on-one. I'm super awkward on the phone. Like it's painful.
And on Zoom.
Talking on the phone. But yeah, just getting in front of people and like actually learning more about them and getting to know their personality. I mean, I don't think there's anything magic about just being authentic and getting to know someone and really being genuine with people. I never want to come off salesy because like working in restaurants, it's not like a sales thing. People come in knowing what they want basically. But here it's, you know, I want to remain authentic and genuine with people. And I think that's the biggest thing that's helped me is people go, you know, they say, "You're just so nice. We love that you're not pushy." And I don't know. It's just better to be genuine and authentic with people, I guess.
I think you're right, and that's good stuff. Tell me about open houses, and anyone can chime in here. How is an open house a lead generation tool? Because I don't know, I don't always see it in my head. So how do you turn sitting in open house, whether it's your listing or another agent's, into lead generation? Anyone?
I think for me, it's about getting in front of people as well. And you know that they are, sometimes in open houses, you have the neighbors. What I usually do for my open houses is I will go out a day or 2 prior to. I do have listings in other cities that I will go into their offices and drop off flyers to other agencies and brokerages, introduce myself and introduce the property that I've listed. And then I will go through, if it's in an area like a subdivision, I will go and hand out flyers of the open house to let them know if they have any family, friends that are looking to move into the neighborhood, or if they're looking to get pricing to know where their house value is, to please come by. And that generates additional connections with people within that subdivision. So I say, if you have a listing in a certain subdivision, you want to milk it in every way that you can and just really expose that property, which in turn exposes you. So they may come and say, you know what, I want to know what the value of my house is. And they have no interest in, of course, everyone wants to know what their value is, and they want to know what their competition is and what their neighbor's house looks like in case they do have family. But I have picked up business from different entities because of open houses, whether they want to know the value of theirs and they want a CMA, or if they have family and they will bring their families to the open house.
Okay, so being in front of people, and Kelly talked about being authentic, and obviously that's 100% a necessity, but also offering value, offering a service. Not everyone wants to talk real estate. Not everyone wants some realtor tell them about their house's value. But if you have that as, like, this is what I can do for you, some people are going to take it. You're not going to go knock on 20 doors and have 20 leads. But if you get 2 or 3 leads because you have something of value, and 2 or 3 of those 20 say, oh, I'd like that, then you've done your job. So it is an awkward thing and takes a lot of courage. But I don't know if all of you watched that video in the winter, maybe we sent it out, about the guy who said his goal was to be told no 100 times a day or 100 times a week or something like that. Because if you just get told no all the time, then it's easy. You just go do it and it doesn't even matter. And it's not about having low expectations. It's about saying, who cares? I'm just going to do it. I'm going to knock on this door. What are they going to do? Shoot me? Probably not. Although I would say, Jamie, the milk it term is probably only useful in Bozeman and maybe Craig, and I don't know. I wouldn't use that term here in Sun Valley. Okay, Adam, any lead gen things besides just being yourself and networking? You've already sort of spoken to it, so maybe you don't have anything else. You don't need to. Okay, we'll let Adam figure out his mute button. Last question for folks. What advice, and this is a duh question, but Jeremy, we'll start with you. Any advice for someone getting into real estate? Because we do have Josh. Your video isn't on, but if you see the Josh in Sun Valley there, he's brand new. He'll be joining us next week. He's been in title for 12 years or so. I think it's fair to say everybody in Sun Valley wanted him, and he's joined our Blue, which I'm psyched about. So nice to have you, Josh, on your first Zoom conference. But any advice, Jeremy, for agents thinking about getting in, or people thinking about getting in real estate, or thinking about which company to choose?
Okay. Definitely go with the company that fits for where you want to take your business. But I guess, mainly once you finally get into that company, just come into the office, come in, don't be afraid to ask questions from agents that have actually been in the business for a while, because they're willing to help you and they give you awesome advice, So definitely don't be afraid to do that. Let's see, and just reach out to your family first, reach out to your friends. If you have neighbors, just hit up your sphere of influence, because that's where 70% of your business most likely is going to come from. So focus most of your energy there, rather than trying to go to places that maybe have a less higher percentage of actually closing a deal. But most importantly, just be consistent. If you do that, be consistent with your phone calls, be consistent with your door knocking, whatever it is you do, whatever it is you feel comfortable doing, stick to it. That's what you have to do in this business, so just stick to whatever it is you like.
Yeah, good. I like the consistent thing. Don, you talked about risk and reward at the front end, which was a little bit different than all the other stuff here. So how do you talk to someone that's thinking about this career or this company with that in mind?
Well, we've all made the decision to jump in and become real estate agents, and don't prejudge anything or anybody. Don't think that you're above doing something. Just go out and do it. You never know who's going to be interested or who's going to go with you. You just got to overcome your fears and just do it.
So that's the risk and reward thing there too, is risk your fears, overcome them, and go get it done.
Don't have paralysis by analysis.
Yeah, that's great. Brandon, any thoughts about someone? You're sitting in front of a class of soon-to-be agents. What are you going to tell them? That's nice. Can you unmute?
I think be passionate. I think a lot of the business that I've got is just me being excited about my new job and how much I like doing it and what I get to do for people. And, you know, when I get excited about what I'm doing, it gets them excited or interest in what are you doing? And then next time they're talking to somebody, they're like, oh, I know a guy that you need to talk to. I've gotten several referrals just because I was bragging about my job, how much that I love doing it.
That's awesome. Let's see, Jeremy mentioned 70%. Certain things stick with people. So when you say things like 70%, that's going to sound like more of an authority because numbers are good. But here's what else happens, is that people will remember the how more than they'll remember the what. Brandon just spoke about being enthusiastic and being passionate. They're going to remember how this person interacted with them as opposed to maybe what he told them. They're going to take the feeling away, and that feeling is going to then result in them calling him for the what, because they felt good about his performance, his presentation. And so make sure you have that passion, that excitement, that energy and electricity. Otherwise, all the stuff we're talking about is just going to fall a little bit flat. Kelly, we just got a couple minutes left here. So what advice would you have for someone saying, I want to be an agent?
I would just say, even when it seems rough and it seems like it's a long road to try to get to your first sale, just stay positive. Also, like, I would agree with Don, like, do the grunt work, just work hard, and don't think that it's just going to fall into your lap. Like, after that first deal I had right off the bat, I hyper focused on both of those so much that I didn't have anything else going for 2 months after that. So always keep your pipeline full and just make sure that you treat everybody the same. Like, there's a quote that says, treat the janitor the same as the CEO. Like, you never know who you're talking to. So treat everyone with kindness. And, you know, it doesn't matter if it's a $90,000 sale or a $900,000 sale. I just want to make sure people are taken care of. And so make people, not make them, but understand that people at the end of the day just want to be treated fairly, and it doesn't matter who they are. So do the grunt work and be nice to people. Excellent. Do the grunt work. I love that. Our mission is remarkable service, and that's what I'm hearing from all of you. Sorry if we didn't get everyone to contribute everything they wanted, but it is 12 o'clock, and I don't want to go over 1 hour with this. So really thanks to the panel and for your thoughtful comments, and for everybody else that was listening, whether it's live or later on YouTube. Really appreciate it. Josh, can you unmute for a second and just say hi so we can all say hi to you, and welcome to Coldwell Banker. Are you still on? Hey, Josh.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hey, everybody. I enjoyed the first session. Thanks for all the good information.
Excellent. So welcome to CBDP, Josh, on 3. Welcome, Josh. 1, 2, 3. Welcome, Josh. Okay. Hey, have a great week. Happy Chinese New Year to everybody. Celebrate it. Eat lots of dumplings because that's the best thing in the world. And we will see you all next week. Thanks a ton, everybody. Bye. Thanks.